Hey guys, welcome back to the show. I'm Parker Eimerl, and this is the Conversation Station. We are halfway there. We are 15 episodes in as of today to this 30 and 30 challenge. And I just want to start off by thanking everyone who's listened over the course of these 15 days and who's going to continue to listen. I just want to say this. It would be much appreciated if you'd go ahead and share any of the episodes. Just pick whatever episode was your favorite, even if it's one that was done outside of the 30 and 30 challenge, and share it on social media, or just share it with someone that you think it could benefit. I think that that's even more important in a lot of ways, because when we share on social media, it is a blanket marketing strategy. It's a cold marketing strategy. But as humans, all algorithms do is try to emulate the human intellectual experience, right? An algorithm is just trying to predict who someone is. And as humans, we understand that better than an algorithm can. And so what I would say is pick someone. You know someone in your life, right, who one of these lessons might help. And maybe it's even this one, right? Send this to them. Just shoot them a message. Whatever. It's a bit of self-promo. But if you feel called, do it. And if you're going to share it, send us an episode to a person that will benefit. I value that much more than social media shares. Obviously, it's nice to get the followers. But there's much more impact in the personal send, right? That is going to be much more valuable to the world. Now, in this episode, I actually want to explore finding your purpose in life, and then I want to bring it over a little bit to relationships and the dynamics that we see in our lives. So on this idea of finding your purpose, for those of you that have listened to either of my episodes with Mr. Eric Hyde, one of the things that he says, it's sort of kind of his mantra, is the hardest decision in life is figuring out what you want to do. And that once you figure that out, the rest is easy. You just set a plan in motion and stick to the plan. And one of the things I've been thinking about as I talk to people, and it was kind of inspired by that episode with Coach Kevin. Great episode. If you guys want to get a really great idea on how two coaches can be equally elite with very different approaches, listen to the Coach Kevin episode and then listen to the Steve Eckert episode. Two elite guys who care a lot about the young men in this country who have vastly different point of views. And I think it's interesting because when we think about finding our purpose, right, it feels like something that we need to have dialed in to a T, right? This is what I want to do. I know that I want to do this. But that's not necessarily the case in most ways. Because often the most beneficial way and the easiest way to find where you want to go is to just start going. And I think every person has an inherent understanding of the general direction they want to go. You might not know, I want to go exactly here. Look, I don't know, right? And you're always going to adapt to life, just as life kind of adapts itself to you. And so I think the important thing, and I was talking about this with my mom earlier today, is when you have that sense, everyone has a sense of general direction, and it's really simple to do if you want to figure out a general direction. What I would do, and this was actually a recommendation from the one and only Sean Briscoe. Go check out that episode that came out yesterday. Really, really good stuff. But what he said is grab a piece of paper, divide it into 4 areas, and I believe it was skills, talents. What are your natural talents? What do you value, right? What are your values? What are your beliefs? And then what are you passionate about, right? So talents, passions, beliefs, and values. So put 4 corners on a page and just start writing those things out. I think that that's a hard thing to do. I was trying this exercise yesterday, and it's freaking difficult. It is not easy to do. But it is really cool to get this idea of like, here's what I'm passionate about, and just write it out. And just looking at that page, you can circle things, do whatever notes you want to do. But looking at that page, it's really easy to get this general idea of what is the general direction I want to go, right? And then you want to pick a goal that goes generally in that direction that is going to be a net positive in your life. And I think one of the things that we have a problem with is feeling like our goals are arbitrary. And one of Coach Kevin's points, which I really liked, was every goal is arbitrary, right? Every goal is just something you pick and you attack and you go. And so my advice to you would be go choose that thing, right? Go pick the direction you want to go, right? And then pick a goal, right? It doesn't matter, right? For me, I know my direction, right? I know a very general direction, but more so I have people that I want to be like. But having that general direction, it was easy. I actually decided to do 30 episodes in 30 days on a complete whim. And it was a really easy decision to, like, I had already done some podcasts, but the big thing is like, okay, I want to network and I want to build a personal brand, right? Those are two things that every person needs to some degree, right? You either need a word of mouth personal brand or an online brand. And so for me, I love content creation. So obviously that the online brand is going to be important to me. And so what I did very simply is it just kind of popped into my head, 30 episodes in 30 days. And once you pick that goal, I don't want you to give yourself the chance to fail. And and what I mean by that is send it to everyone that you respect. Send that goal to the people that you respect, not necessarily the people like, I mean, I guess if I sent it to Steve Eckert and I failed, he'd yell at me because that's who he is and it's awesome. But it doesn't have to be someone like that, right? What I did is I broadcasted out to people I respected, talked about it with these people, and I created a commitment, right? And it was a commitment that was far more internal than external because I don't want to let down the people I respect. I don't want to let down the people whose opinions I value most. And so by telling them I'm doing this, it inherently gave me this motivation and this drive. And so I spent like 15 days trying to schedule guests. I think I scheduled 2 in those 15 days, right? But it became much easier to schedule guests. It became much easier to record these episodes, and it has been as time has gone on. And so that's why I say you need to choose something and drive towards it. You need to give yourself a timeline. That's why I like incremental goals, right? You can always have that big goal, but you need to have that short-term goal so that you get a sense of achievement, right? Because a sense of achievement is one of those factors that drives us. And so I think it's very important to make sure that you have a sense of achievement in your life. Because as we achieve our short-term goal that aligns with our general long-term mission, it helps us build momentum. So we just set the next goal and we evolve, right? And so I think it's something that we all need to be thinking about in our lives because it is so important that we make sure we have that momentum, because when you have momentum, it makes it a lot easier to do the new thing and to succeed, so that when the opportunity comes along, right? When the big opportunity comes along, you have the momentum to do it and take on those challenges without having to start, right? Obviously, you're starting in a new thing, whatever it is that aligns with your mission that you choose to attack. But it's far more you have a foundation to build on, right? But what I would say is when that new mission comes along, still have things outside of that give you momentum, because there is a chance that some of these things aren't going to work out. I was talking to a friend of mine who just dedicated 7 months of his life to a company, and it didn't work out. But the fact is that if you have another thing, right? Like if I started a company, but in addition to that company, I still did podcasting every single day, then let's say the company fails, right? But at least I have that solid thing that I've been consistent on every single day. And there are these pillars. Working out is great. That gives you a sense of achievement. It gives you a victory to start your day. But you need to have an intellectual win as well, right? The podcast is an intellectual win for me because I share my thoughts and I do some work on the computer. And so it's these different elements, right? You need to have your physical win in working out, in training for a marathon, whatever it is. And then you also need to have you also need to have your physical, right? So you've got your physical, you need your mental, you need your emotional goals. You need all of these pillars, all these goals, relationships, business, right? But sometimes I think business, people equate that to money. Business is humans. First and foremost, humans. One of the goals that I think is interesting is you have to navigate having money goals, but not having money be the goal. You have to navigate, having a goal for, to get a girlfriend, but not let getting a girlfriend be the goal. You need to be so diversified on your goals that when you fail at one, it doesn't completely tank your momentum, right? You need to have your general purpose, and you need to have a general place that you want to go, but you need to have these goals, right? But the biggest thing with these goals, and I like to call them challenges, because you want to put a time frame on them. Goals versus challenges. I know you can have a goal, but when you call it a challenge, that's why it's a 30 and 30 challenge. My goal wasn't to do 30 episodes in 30 days. I challenged myself and told myself I was going to do it. There was no am I going to do it. It was I am going to do 30 episodes in 30 days. No negotiating, none of that, right? And I know I'm yelling a little bit, right? And I do want to maintain some nuance here, because I do think that's important. But this is one of those things that I am so passionate about, man. You need to set the challenge, and you need to push yourself. You need to do something that in the back of your head, there is part of you that at the bare minimum, there needs to be part of you that believes you can do it. Because if you don't believe you can do it, your actions won't reflect those of someone who believes they can do it. I believed I could do 30 episodes in 30 days. I knew it would be hard, and I knew it would be harder than I expected. And it sure as hell has been, man. It has been very difficult to do this. Episodes coming out at 11:59. But I'm doing it anyway. And I think that's important. And so we need to keep this in mind in our lives. That we need to set so many goals, right? We need to have so many victories, and we need to live a life of winning. And the sense of winning, the reason I say living a life of winning is because I don't like the term win at life. But to some degree, it is true. You do need to win at life, because you need to live a life that you want to live. And if you're constantly losing, you're not going to live a happy life. You're not going to be excited to get out of bed every day. And so I think even if you work at a random job that doesn't align with your purpose, doing something outside of that, doing 7 things outside of that align with your purpose, they could be small. But like I'm telling you, any person who works a 9 to 5, right, could find time to do a podcast every single day, because, right, this setup is super simple, right? I literally have a little microphone recorder and a camera. You could use your phone and nothing else, right? So I think the interesting thing is that there aren't very many excuses, right? These things are important, but the excuse is a lie. And I'm gonna pause for 1 second because I need to plug in my audio interface. Give me 1 second. All right, sorry about that. My interface ran out of battery, so I just had to get that plugged in. But I think that this is a good place to transition into my second talking point. And that point is very simply that you need to set a precedent in your relationships as early on as possible. But in order to be able to set that precedent, you have to be secure in yourself. You have to know yourself to the point where you're not setting your value off of external people and external sources. Now, I do think that you do, to some degree, need to be able to use those external sources to self-reflect, but your inherent internal self-value should not be based upon the opinions of others. And it's very difficult to do. It is by no means easy, and I don't want anyone to think that's what I'm saying, right? I mean, I think the fact is that we all have problems, right? And there are always going to be people whose opinions you do value. But it is important that we don't try to base who we are off of these people. You can't make someone the center of your universe. They have to be a part of that universe, and at the center of that universe should be a complete and utter commitment to getting better, bettering yourself every single day. Because it can become very easy to set a precedent, whether it be to a loved one, a spouse, or even to children, of the way that you handle things when they have a problem or when you have a problem with them, right? I think with kids, it's an easy example. I think the longer that a precedent has been set, the harder it is to change. And so when you're dealing with a child who from the ages of 0, like 1 to 5, 6, things have been handled a certain way, right? When they have a problem, mommy or daddy just fixes the problem for them, and they're never challenged to fix it. The second mommy and daddy start challenging them, they are going to resist 100% of the time. Now, if it from the age of, when they're really young, it's a much more of a slow adding of responsibility in proportion to their age. It's going to be a lot easier, and I think the place we see that most is with that youngest child. And I have a little brother. I love him to death. But the fact is that the way parents operate, it does become... I don't know the exact science behind it. I bet there is. I bet if you asked Jordan Peterson, he could tell you the psychology. But I think if we just look at it, everyone knows the idea of the youngest child, the stereotype of the youngest child who has the easiest life. But I think it's not that they have the easiest life. It's the fact that the parents struggle to give them the responsibilities they gave their younger kids or their earlier kids, purely due to the fact that I don't even know, right? I mean, I'm not a parent, so I can't really speak from experience on this. But I think that we can extrapolate that out to life, right? You never want to set the expectation that you won't confront someone with a problem. We've all experienced this, right? I mean, we all have people who we won't bring up our problems to, right? Who, when we have a problem with them, I'm talking about when you have a problem with them, or an issue or something they're doing that you don't like, there are those people that we are scared to talk to, or that we have not set the precedent, so it's hard for us to shift, and when we do, they lash out. And so what we need to keep in mind in our lives is this idea that we need to call people out and have them call us out, and we need to base all of our relationships on that notion. Because if you don't have accountability in your relationships, it is really hard to live an accountable life and live a life worth living, because it's really easy when you can't address a problem with someone. It is really easy to start to live a miserable life, because when there's a problem with them, you feel scared to bring it up. And I think that a lot of people have this issue from when they were kids, when their parents might have not let them bring things up. But we need to always remember that our parents aren't us. we aren't who people tell us we are. We are our actions, and we have the ability to change. There are people who are 67 and go through the greatest change of their life and become a significantly better version of yourself. What Gary Vee says is it's never too late to change. It's never too late to be better. It's never too late. What he says is it's never too late to, marketing. He says it in terms of marketing, but I think we can extrapolate it out to life. It is never too late to become the best version of yourself, and it is never too late to break the cycle, right? It is never too late to stop a behavior. There is no such thing as too late. And I think that the more that we stop thinking about it as being too late, the better world we're going to live in. And that's what I want to leave you with. And I think that I just want to thank you guys, right? I mean, I'm having fun with this, right? I think 15 days in, I'm excited. Really going to keep grinding, hit that 30-day mark. And after that, I'll probably take a couple of days off. I don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but this is just kind of an update right here at the end. And I think, so going forward, we're going to keep pushing, work hard, make better episodes for the next 15 days. And then after that, I'm going to probably take somewhere in the realm of a week off, or I'll just do one episode that week, right? I do think it'll be hard to break the cycle of doing these every day, and I'm going to try not to. But there will be a week where maybe one won't be released because we're going to be upping the ante on the show in all fronts. There's a lot of really cool things coming. I'm playing with a bunch of cool ideas, and I'll probably record a bunch of episodes that week, but I don't know if I'll release any in that first week of October, but just know that there are going to be great things coming. Remember to, like I said earlier, please share this episode with someone that you think it will impact greatly, or any episode of the show, even if it's the first episode, even though it's the first episode, right? No one likes the first piece of content they create, but, never going to take that one down. And so just take all those things and take them forward with you. And until next time, I'm Parker Eimerl. I've been talking to you, and this has been The Conversation Station.